389, the Queen of Sheba. Chapter 10. And when the Queen of Sheba heard about the fame of Solomon and the name of the Lord, she came to try him out with proverbs too. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, and with camels bearing spices, and very much gold and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she tested him with all that was in her heart. 3. And Solomon answered all her questions. There was nothing hidden from the king which he did not tell her. 4. And when the Queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom, and the house that he had built, 5, and the food of his table, and the order in which his servants sat, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and their clothing, and his burnt offerings which he offered in the house of the Lord, she was greatly overcome. 6. And she said to the king, It was a true report that I heard in my own land of your sayings and of your wisdoms. 7. Howbeit I did not believe the words until I came, and my own eyes had seen it, and behold, the half was not told to me. Your wisdom and prosperity exceed the report which I heard. 8. Happy are your wives, happy are your servants, who stand continually before you and hear your wisdom. 9. Blessed be the Lord your God, who has delighted in you, and has set you upon the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever. Therefore he has made you king, to do judgment and justice. 10. And she gave King Solomon 120 talents of gold, and very great amount of spices and precious stones. And there came no more such abundance of spices as these, which the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. 390. Solomon in all his glory. 11. And the ships also from Hiram that brought gold from Ophir brought enough from Ophir a great amount of sandalwood and precious stones. 12. And the king made of sandalwood ornaments for the house of the Lord, and for the king's house harps also, and psalteries for singers. Never before nor since came such sandalwood to this day. 13. And King Solomon gave to the Queen of Sheba all that she desired, and whatsoever she asked for, besides that which he gave her in his royal bounty. So she turned and went to her own land, she and her servants. 14. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents. 15. Besides that which came from the craftsmen, and from the traffic of the merchants, and from all the kings of the Arabs, and from the governors of the land. 16. And King Solomon made 200 shields of pure gold, 600 minas of gold went into each shield. 17. And 300 round shields of pure gold, and 300 minas went into each shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. 18. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory, and overlaid it with the gold of Ophir. 19. The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind, and there were armrests on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood on either side of the seat. 20. And the 12 lions stood there on one side and on the other side upon the 6 steps. There was not like in any kingdom. 21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. Silver was counted as nothing in the days of Solomon. 22. For the king had at sea a navy of ships of Tarshish, with the navy of Hiram. Once every 3 years came the navy from Tarshish, bringing gold, ivory, apes, and peacocks. 23. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth in riches and in wisdom. 24. And all the kings of the earth sought to see the face of Solomon and to hear the wisdom which God had put in his heart. 25. And they brought every man his present, vessels of gold, and vessels of silver, garments, armor, spices, horses, fancy chariots, and mules, year by year. 26. And Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, and he had left some of the chariots in the cities and kept others with the king in Jerusalem. 27. And King Solomon made silver to be as plentiful in Jerusalem as stones, and he made cedar as abundant as sycamore trees that are on the plain. 28. And Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt, and the king's merchants received a commission on the goods they bought. 29. And a chariot was delivered from Egypt for 600 shekels of silver, and a horse for 150. And so for all the kings of the Hittites and for the kings of the Arams, they brought many gifts with their own hands. Chapter 11. But King Solomon loved many foreign women, as well as the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Ammonites, Moabites, Edomites, Zidonians, and the Hittites. And of the nations concerning which the Lord had said to the children of Israel, you shall not mix with them, neither shall they mix with you, lest they turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clung to these in love. 3. And he had 700 wives, princesses, 300 concubines, and his wife turned away his heart. 391. Solomon's shame. 4. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wife turned away his heart after other gods. His wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his hearts were not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. 5. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the god of the Zidonians, and after Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, after Malcham, the god of the Ammonites. 6. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as David his father. 7. Then Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the god of Moab, on the mountain that is before Jerusalem, and for Malcham, or Milcom, the god of the Ammonites. 8. And likewise did for all his foreign wives, and burned incense and sacrificed to their gods. 9. And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned away from the Lord God of Israel, who appeared to him twice. 10. And had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord commanded him. 11. Therefore the Lord said to Solomon, for as much as you have done this, and you have not kept my covenant and my statutes and my commandments, which I have commanded you, I will surely rend the kingdom from you and will give it to your servant. 12. Nevertheless, in your days I will not do it for David my servant's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of your son. 13. However, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but I will give one tribe to your son for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen. 14. And the Lord stirred up an adversary against Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the royal family of Edom. 15. For when David destroyed Edom, and Joab the commander of the army went up to bury the slain, he slew every male in Edom. 16. For Joab and all Israel with him remained there 6 months, until he had slain every male in Edom. 17. But Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites, from among his father's servants into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little boy. 18. They set out from Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran and went into Egypt, and to Pharaoh king of Egypt, who gave him a house and food, and said to him, Dwell with me, and gave him land. 19. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife, the sister of Tahpenes the queen. 20. And the sister of Tahpenes bore him Genubath his son, whom Tahpenes weaned in Pharaoh's house. And Genubath was in Pharaoh's household among the sons of Pharaoh. 21. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and Joab the commander of the army was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, Let me depart, that I may go to my own country. 22. But Pharaoh said to him, What have you lacked with me? Behold, you seek to go to your own country? And he answered, Nothing, but do let me go. 23. God also stirred up against Shalom and another adversary, Hedron, the son of Eliadah, who had fled from his lord Hadarezer, king of Zobah. 24. And he gathered men to him and became a captain of a band, when David slew the people of Zobah, and they went to Damascus and dwelt in it. Hadad reigned in Damascus. 25. He was an adversary to Israel all the days of Shalom, because of the evil which he did, and Hadad oppressed the children of Israel, and reigned over Aram, Syria. At this time the king of Aram was an Edomite. 26. And Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zeddah, Shalomon's servant, whose mother's name was Uriah, a widow, he lifted up his hand against King Shaloman. 392. Shalomon's death. 27. And this was the reason why he lifted up his hand against King Shaloman. When Shaloman built Millo and repaired the breaches of the city of David. 28. The man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Shaloman, seeing that the young man was valiant, made him ruler over the charge of the house of Joseph. 29. And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite encountered him on the road, and Ahijah had clad himself with a new garment, and the two of them were alone in the field. 30. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him, and tore it into 12 pieces. 31. And he said to Jeroboam, Take for yourself 10 pieces, for thus says the Lord God of Israel, Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Shaloman, and give 10 tribes to you. 32. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. 33. Because he has forsaken me, and has worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and Shemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Malcham, the god of the Ammonites, and has not walked in my ways, and has not done that which was right in my sight, and has not kept my statutes and my judgments, as David his father. 34. Nevertheless, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I'll make him a ruler all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I have chosen, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. 35. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it to you, 10 tribes. 36. And to his son I will give 1 tribe, and David my servant may have an heir always before me, and in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen for myself, to put my name there. 37. I will give it to you, and you shall reign according to all that your soul desires, and you shall be king of Israel. 38. And if you shall hearken to that I command you, to all that I command you, and will walk in my ways, and do what is right in my sight, and keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, I'll be with you, and build you a sure house, as I built for David my servant, and give Israel, to you. 39. And for this I will afflict the descendants of David, but not forever. 41. Solomon therefore sought to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled to Egypt, to Shishak king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. 41. The rest of the acts of Solomon and all that he did and his wisdom, behold, they are written in the book of Acts of Solomon. 42. In the time that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem of all Israel was 40 years. 43. And Solomon slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 12. And Rehoboam went to session. For all Israel will come to Shechem to make him king. 2. And when Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he had fled from the presence of King Solomon, Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt. And Jeroboam 3. And then they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the people of Israel came and spoke to Rehoboam, saying, For your father made our yoke harsh, now therefore lighten some of the grievous service of your father, and his heavy yoke which is put upon us, and we will serve you. 5. And he said to them, Depart yet 3 days, then come again to me. So the people departed. 6. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men who had stood before his father while he was still alive, and said to them, How do you advise that I may answer the people? 393. To your tents, O Israel. 7. And they said to him, If you will be a servant to this people, this then will serve them and answer them and speak good words to them, then they will be your servants forever. 8. But he forsook the counsel which the old men had given him, and consulted the young men who were grown up with him, and stood before him. 9. And he said to them, What counsel do you give, that we may answer the people that have spoken to me, saying, Make the yoke which your father did put upon us lighter. 10. And the young men who were grown up with him spoke to him, saying, Thus you shall speak to the people who have said to you, Your father made our yoke heavy, but you make it lighter for us. Thus shall you say to them, My little finger is thicker than my father's thumb. 11. Now therefore, my father laid a heavy yoke upon you, I will add to your yoke. My father has chastised you with whips, I will chastise you with knouts. 12. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the 3rd day, and the king, as the king had commanded them, saying, Come to me again the 3rd day. 13. And the king answered the people harshly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him. 14. And spoke to them according to the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, I will chastise you with knouts. 15. Wherefore the king did not listen to the people, for the stirring of the strife was from the Lord, that the Lord might perform his saying, which he spoke by his servant Ahijah, the prophet of the Shilonite, unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. 16. So when all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, saying, We have no portion in David, neither have we any inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now sit your own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. 17. And the children of Israel dwelt in their cities, but Judah made Rehoboam the son of Solomon king over them. 18. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoniram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, and he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made haste to ride in his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. 19. So Israel has rebelled against the house of David to this day. 20. And when all Israel heard that Jeroboam had returned, they sent and called him to the congregation, and made him king over all Israel, until there was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah. But the tribe of Judah only. 21. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men of war, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. 22. But the word of the Lord came to Shemaiah the prophet of God, saying, 23. Speak to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, 24. Thus says the Lord, you shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord, and returned according to the word of the Lord. 25. Then Jeroboam built Shalom in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Penuel. 26. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now the kingdom will certain to the house of David. 27. If this people go up, if this people go up to do fires at the house of the Lord in Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again to their Lord, even to Rehoboam king of Judah, and they shall kill me and return to Rehoboam king of Judah. Jeroboam's idolatry, 394. 28. So the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said to all Israel, is it too much for you to go up to Jerusalem? Behold your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. 29. And he set the one on Beth El, and he said, put the other he put in Dan. 30. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. 31. And he made a temple of idols, and made priests from among the people who were not the sons of Levi. 32. And Jeroboam made a feast in the 8th day, on the 15th day of the month, like the feast up to you. And he went up to the and he made a temple of idols, and made priests from among the people who were not of the sons of Levi. 32. And Jeroboam made a feast in the 8th month, and on the 15th day of the month, like the feast that is in Judah, and he went up to the altar to offer sacrifices. So did he in Beth El, sacrificing to the calves that he had made, and he appointed in Beth El priests for the temples of idols, which he had made. 33. And he went to the altar which he had made in Beth El on the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and made a feast to the children of Israel, and went up to the altar to burn incense.